Beyond grown plants, soil serves many other human activities. At its core, soil is simply the surface we inhabit. These non-agricultural uses include recreation, engineering projects, waste disposal, and even a source of building materials. Let's explore some of these. Think about the parks around here. Children playing, softball teams, jogging paths, golf courses, parks, campgrounds. All are large areas used for recreation. Designing these facilities requires specialized knowledge of soil properties. Sport playing fields, in particular, are some of the most demanding soil uses. Growing turf that can withstand, football cleats or soccer shoes is a huge challenge, especially with variations in the weather, being too wet, getting too dry. Often require highly engineered mixes of loam, sand, other materials, carefully graded and drained. Then we have engineering. Before building a home, laying a road, or installing sewer lines, soils must be tested and sometimes modified to ensure they can support the structure. Structurally sound buildings don't just depend on the builder's skill, but also on the soil beneath. Building foundations can crack if the soil settles. That's what's happened to my house. The soil is it's high silt clay, and there's this high shrink swell potential with my soil. So when it's dry, it shrinks. House settles a little bit. When it gets wet, it swells, bulges things back up, and cracks form in the concrete in the basement. You think about how civil engineers need firm soils for highways and bridges. Uh, Another thing is load-bearing capacity. That's the ability of soil to support a load without shifting. Soils high in clay or organic matter often have low load-bearing capacity, leading to structural problems. And I think that's what's the issue with my house and the surrounding soil type. Soil has long been used for waste disposal, sometimes with unfortunate results. Human sanitary waste treatment often relies on soil because it filters materials and there are microorganisms that break down the organic compounds. Your home's septic drain field is a prime example if you have one of those. Sewage sludge, the end product of treatment plants, can even be spread on the soil as a source of nutrients and organic matter, under strict regulations, of course. Landfills for hazardous waste require specific soils that prevent dangerous materials from leaching into groundwater or stream systems. Finally, soil can be a building material. Before long distance shipping, people built homes with local materials. Early Great Plains settlers actually built their houses out of sod, the upper layers of the soil with the grass and roots. Adobe, if you go to Arizona with this or been to Arizona, you might see some adobe, the bunkhouse behind the main house. You can see the adobe bricks that they made to build that. It's a sun-baked mixture of sandy and clayey soil, and it's been used for thousands of years. And of course, you still see it all over the American Southwest. Modern applications include earth-sheltered buildings, where homes are built underground or into hillsides, offering energy efficiency by staying warm in winter and cool in summer. So we've talked about agricultural uses for soil, and we've talked about non-agricultural use for soil. Let's look at the land use patterns in the United States. This is a figure out of your textbook, and it's a pie chart that shows how non-federal land in the United States was used in 2007. You can see that about 80% of non-federal land is evenly divided among cropland, forest land, and rangeland as the major uses of our soils. Now, it's important to understand, land use isn't static, especially with these three categories. It changes over time due to market forces, changes in technology, and government programs. For example, between 1982 and 2007, rangeland, cropland, and pasture land all declined, while forest land grew slightly. Now, an important trend here is that urbanization continues to grow. And you think about what is prime farmland? Well, it's flat and it's continuous, which makes it a very easy place to build and develop. Much easier than, some of the hilly places, maybe like around, say Savage Reservoir or something where you got the steep mountains. It's hard to build, even roads. I mean, those are like cow paths winding around there. Well, these prime farmlands, as farmers get older, they're not being replaced by younger ones, or they're small farms that are not competitive, or whatever the case is, the land gets sold and becomes developed, and you see it all over the place.